Good evening. Welcome to Tara's Tidbits PM edition. Today is Saturday, March the 1st. Thank you so much for joining me. In this PM edition, we've been studying the book of Esther. So what I've been doing is reading a chapter in the book of Esther from the Bible and then using this book and alternating each night. So tonight is a book night. This book is called The Esther Anointing. It is an amazing book. We did this study at my church about 6 months ago, I think. 6 months to a year. I don't remember. Something like that. And it just changed the way I thought about myself and the Lord. So it's very powerful. So tonight we are looking at chapter 4 in the book. It is linked down there if you end up liking the sounds of this book and want to study it more, because obviously I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm just reading things that stood out to me. Chapter 4 is called Awaken to Destiny. And the quote is, "The high destiny of the individual is to serve rather than to rule." And so remember, in Esther we have learned that Esther had become the queen because of favor. And then her cousin Mordecai came and told her, like, they're planning to kill the Jews, you gotta do something. And she's like, if I go into the king without being asked, I can be killed. But she said, if I perish, I perish, but I need you guys to go fast and pray for 3 days and then I'll do it. So you must understand, reading from the book, you must understand that this was not an easy 1, 2, 3 for Esther. This was not the direction her life was going up to this point. She was a young girl, orphaned and living in a small town with her cousin Mordecai. When she hears that the king was searching for a new wife, and she had to be one of the candidates, Esther was taken from her home and commanded to live in the palace, undergo 12 months of beauty treatments, and spend one night with the king to see if he would like her enough to make her his queen. And because of God's favor, she was pleasing to the king, and he chose her to be his wife. I'm summarizing this here because we have to get into Esther's head a little bit to understand things from her perspective. She was practically a sheltered girl who now had the future of her people resting on her shoulders. At the point Mordecai comes to Esther with the request to go to the king and ask for people's lives to be spared, she had been known as Esther, Queen of Persia. She had hidden her Jewish identity. Her birth name wasn't even Esther, it was Hadassah. If the secret got out, it could literally cost her life. It could literally cost her life. On to the next section. It says, Esther 4:16 reveals a crossroad that we all must face. Would Esther respond to the call of God to do something significant in history? This was a time when Esther had to make the decision to follow the purpose of God or cower in fear. The choices she would make would not only affect her life, but the lives of others. Our destinies are many times shaped by our choices. Like Esther, your defining moment will represent your true self. You'll feel inspired to accomplish something greater than yourself. You may even think back through your entire life's journey that led up to your defining moment. And like Esther, you may have a defining moment that will lead you to a breakthrough in your identity. Amazing, isn't it? I mean, obviously I can't read the whole thing. These are just things that really stood out to me. And then, again, so much. I wish I could do it. There's just so much. I would be on here past the 10-minute video limit. Some defining moments may come unexpectedly and pass quickly, yet with far-reaching consequences. I believe one decision to obey God can change the course of your life. If you know you have a strong gift in a certain area, you want to make a mark and you want to leave the world better, but you won't know your legacy, even your greatest mistake, until years later. The defining moment will happen when you don't know it's happening. So the problem and challenge for us is we don't know the one thing that we will do to make a big difference. Esther had to choose whether she would stay indifferent to the flight of her people or risk losing her life. And remember, at the end of each chapter, there are some declarations and a prayer. I'm just going to read a few of the declarations. In chapter 4, it says, I will awaken from sleep and slumber. I will awaken from complacency and indifference. I am an active member in the army of the Lord. I will engage the culture with my prayer and actions. I loose confusion in every plan and demonic conspiracy to keep me silent. I will arise and let my voice be heard. I will preach your word. I will encourage the next generation of godly women. Let every dormant gift, talent, and anointing be awakened inside of me. Let every God-given idea be awakened, activated, cultivated, and implemented for kingdom advancement. I will answer the call of God. I will not cower back in fear. I loose myself from insecurity and fear of failure. I break every religious spirit that has pushed me to the background. And I shake myself free from apathy and a lack of concern. And then there are more, over here. But again, I would be here all night. This is such a great book and a great study about Esther and what she did for her people, and awakening that kind of person inside of you. It is an amazing book. Thank you so much for joining me. So tomorrow night we'll go on to the next chapter in the Bible, and then the next night, chapter 5 in the Esther anointing. So thank you for joining me. I do a morning Bible study. I do a morning praise and worship song of the day. And and I do and then I do this evening Bible study. I also go live on the TikTok channel every night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for live praise and worship and Bible study. And I would love to have you join me in the room for that. We're having a great time there. In the meantime, have a great evening.